All right.
All right.
I think we're all set. Let me just go back to my notes here real quick and we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, welcome everyone. I'm Shruti. I'm one of the co-organizers for the Agile Denver Coaches and Scrum Master Meetup alongside Lori and Grant Warden. And I'm fairly new, so I'm totally enjoying this experience and I'm looking forward to contributing more to this meetup community. Talking about today's topic, as Laurie mentioned, right, our commitment is to share unique tools and techniques that we can leverage and during these times of remoteness. So on that note, today's topic, open space, surface, reflect, and explore, is all about how we can apply the open space concepts to give everyone an opportunity to connect and network in a more informal setting, even though you're remote. So, and we've probably experienced open space in the concept of, in the context of specific events or conferences that we've attended in person. And if you haven't, don't worry, I'm sure Mark and April will give us a quick introduction to open space and what it's all about. But in this session, our presenters, Mark and April, plan to show us some of the elements that we can leverage for exploration, especially when we're confronted with uncertainty. And also a little more about how we can hold space for others to explore what they need to. A little about our presenters. We have Mark Kilby. Mark has co-founded a number of professional learning organizations, such as Agile Orlando, Agile Florida, Virtual Team Talk, Remote Together, amongst others. He has helped several Agile organizations discover their path to success and sustainability through his easygoing style of training and coaching. And here's another fun fact. He's a former rocket scientist. Isn't that cool? And we have our second presenter, April Jefferson. April is an independent coach, collaboration facilitator, experience crafter, game creator, speaker, and an organizing founder. April is best known for the transformation and curation of spaces that keep people at the center of it. Please join me in welcoming Mark and April. We're looking forward to this workshop today to see how we can leverage open space concepts and see how we can apply that in our daily life. April, Mark, over to you guys.
Ooh, yay.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you.
Thank you. If you can stop sharing, Lori, we want to invite everyone to, we love to hear people's voices and that sort of thing. So you're welcome to stay off mute because we're going to be having conversation. And reminding people, we will have breakouts today, and that in this main space there's recording, but of course not in the breakout. So, but yes, we wanted to share that with you all. And I think I was told to remind you for the links and things we wanted to share. We wanted to do that early on, so if people have to leave early. And there's two links I'm sharing. One is on mobilitymindset.life, and that's about a book that Mark and I are co-authoring together, and we blog about stuff, and we also have different learning experiences that we offer you based upon like this work that we're talking about today in open space. And then I also sharing a link to an open space that's happening in a couple of weeks. It's 24 hours, it's global, and every 4 hours there's a new circle. It is very exciting. And I encourage everyone to come.
So that's really 6 open spaces in one. So if you have not seen a lot of open spaces, there's your chance in 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh, and I see Radhika mentioned about eating and being on a video. Someone in one of our classes recently taught us a pro tip. If you can use your Zoom filters, go ahead and use that mask filter and you can eat and no one can see you eating on camera. Just to let you know.
That's an interesting tip.
It's amazing how effective that is. So, yeah.
Oh, I gotta explore that.
Yeah. So if you need to sneak in dinner, go ahead and turn on your filter. You can use the cat filter, but then we'll see you eat. So we're here to not just talk about open space tonight, but really to get you in that space. And April and I very much believe that open space goes beyond the theater of open space. So it's really about how do we use those principles and those elements. So if you've been to open space, you might know some of those, but maybe you don't. So the key thing that most people hear about is that law of mobility. So if you feel like you're neither learning or contributing where you are, move somewhere else where you can. So that idea of delivering value. And that certainly applies here. We appreciate you being here tonight. And if you feel you have to move on, we're not offended. We still have a recording. So, but we do hope you stick around because you're going to be spending time speaking with each other as well as with us because we don't like the lecture.
So we said that you were going to surface like a groundhog, reflect like a butterfly, and explore like a bee tonight. So what we're going to invite you to do is first is to surface, and in breakouts we're going to invite you to consider, and before you go you're going to have a conversation with someone. But the first thing I want you to do is to think of a metaphor. When you are coaching at your worst, and if you're a Scrum Master, you are a coach. You're coaching at the team level. So we're not going to get all bogged down with titles here. You're coaching. So when you're coaching at your worst, it is like what? Consider. What do you think? I'm going to invite Mark to answer. When you're coaching at your worst, Mark, it is like what?
It's like, for me, it's like the plane's not going down, it's gone down. It's gone down hard. It's crashed. And the weird part is I'm there by myself. There's nobody else around the crash site. And you feel like, oh my gosh, I've completely just trashed this and I'm all alone.
What kind of all alone?
Well, as a coach, you're guiding others, and when you do a tremendous coaching fail, when I do one, I feel all alone. I feel like there's nobody to help, there's nobody to guide when I have one of those big fails, because maybe I've lost credibility. Maybe it just didn't land for people.
Is there anything else about that lost credibility or landing?
For me, it's that wanting to help. And if people don't think I can help, that digs deep. That hurts.
Okay.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
So is that feeling more of a self-inflicted feeling that you failed, or is it based on feedback, or because I think that will often depend on how you get out of that, right? Mm,
So hold that thought.
okay.
I appreciate the coaching.
No, I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
know that you've done a bad job, I guess is my question.
Yeah. Well, so I'll put it this way. It's not so much how much I felt I've done a bad job, but I think we have all been in that situation where we have had that coaching fail. And here we're trying for you to get it out of your system by thinking of a metaphor. Now, I'm being a little more open than probably some of you wish to be. That's okay. I'm very comfortable with doing that because of the work we do. So I would just say, stick with your metaphor. Stick with your metaphor. So just describe how that feels. So I talked about the plane is down, it's crashed. There's not much else. And you may have noticed April was asking certain questions. And when you go into your breakouts, rather than trying to coach, we would recommend just using these two questions. So it's, you notice April asked me, like, what kind of alone, or what kind of, so that X in the question there is, she's taking my exact words and just exploring. So what kind of X, or is there anything else about X? Okay.
And then you'll switch. We'll kind of let you know when to switch, but we're going to invite you for the exploration and give you a few moments there. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? So hopefully everyone has thought of a metaphor. And then we're going to pair you up. You ready? Send them, Mark?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
And the information should stay in the chat. I'll put it one more time just in case if anyone new joined. When you're coaching at your worst, it is like what? And then follow-up questions. What kind of? Whatever that metaphor was. Is there anything else
I'm
about it?
having trouble with the breakouts. So,
Mhm.
if we can
Oh.
get two in a breakout room, that would be helpful. Yeah, I don't know why.
Let's make
We could
Mark and April hosts. I find that's generally probably the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
let's do that. Host.
I know the technical reason why it happened, but we're not going to fix that here. So
I wish
that's the other
thing
class.
to say, so we don't all start helping you too much.
No, it's a version issue. So yeah.
So
I think Mark,
you're
you're host now.
Okay. Now let's try. Oh yes. No. Yes. Yes. No. Okay. Good. So we'll go back to the Dungeons and Dragons topic. Well, I can only get 4 to 5 in a room for some odd reason.
Weird.
So I'll try it. Okay.
See if you can do it. Yeah.
All right. So we need how many rooms, Mark? 4 rooms?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we needed more than 4 rooms, but
folks. So
I'm gonna recreate, and it looks like we need 6 rooms. Create. There we go. I'm opening all rooms.
Great.
Hey, Jeff. Okay, you got it.
Oh, yeah. He was,
Oh,
I noticed he was frozen, so I figured he was heading off. Yeah, that was weird. I think it's a version issue.
it's a version. That's fine. I
Yeah.
was able to do it. And I have it set so we can have people go back to the same things.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. During this commercial break, Mark and I will entertain you for the people who are watching as
And who get to
others
and who get
are
to
in a
edit this
breakout
video
room.
later. Yeah. We love you
Instead,
too. We love video editors. So
yes. And we love all of you. So I may be able to get Mark to give us these, what do you call it? Easter eggs for this call.
you mean
Sometimes,
hints about what we'll talk about later?
ooh, yes. It's like, that's just in a moment, right?
Yeah. Very soon.
When they come back. So, I, and I may be able to get him to sing about a few of those topics. So,
Oh
Mark,
wow. Okay.
I'm gonna pick a word and then
Oh.
and you're gonna tell me a song. We have to just keep entertain people while people are away. So
Mhm.
breath. Give me a song about breath.
Song about breath. Man, my library is limited there. Okay.
Wow.
All right, you got to give me something.
Every breath I
Oh, thank you.
take,
Every
every
breath
move,
I you make,
every
every
single.
smile. Oh, you were on different verses now. Never mind.
But we could be doing two different artists, right?
We could.
Because there's two people who have that song that was inspired by. It's a
I did
little
not know that.
different.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
So every breath you take, who are you thinking about when you think about the song and the artist?
I was thinking about the Police.
Yes, the Police, but also Sean Combs created one. Uh,
That's
uh, yes, so
yeah,
that's why it was a
yeah,
little different for us.
yeah, yeah. So we're playing a little bit here, but that's really part of that concept of breath.
Mhm.
Is how do you step away and take a breath? And sometimes it's having a little fun, sometimes it's taking a walk. Um, and what I love about working with April is we get to take those breaths in our work. Maybe sometimes too many. So we have a lot of fun working together.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun together. Like this intermission. How long have they been in the room?
We did we tell them to switch? Or were we too
No,
busy singing?
we're too busy singing. You want me to send the switch or you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it. Okay. So what word should I choose this time? Because I actually gave you the answer that time.
Oh, I think I need to pick one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, I'll make it easy. Circle. What's a
It's the
circle?
circle of
Oh,
life.
that was too easy. That's what I was thinking of. You know what I wish is I wish I was there with the person editing the video later. Their expression. Because I have been that person. You're so focused on getting the content. I love leaving little Easter eggs.
Huh. I'm trying to thinking. Okay, let's do one more before we bring them back. How about learning?
Mm. Mm. I had one just as you said that and I lost it. Oh, life is a highway. I forget that part of the song.
All night long.
But there's something in the middle there. I can't remember now. It's been a while. I
If
gotta go
you're
watch
going
Cars now.
my way, I'm gonna drive it all night long.
I used to play that in some of my as a break song for some of my training.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna just use the word learn, but
No, I had to do something different.
the full word, yeah. Um, and I would just, in my head, I was trying to think, oh, is there a kid's song that we can think of? Well,
So I'll give them a warning. We'll bring them back here shortly.
you're closing
But
out the rooms.
I don't know what the timer's set for, so I wanted to warn them before I close the rooms.
Okay. Well, I believe it's by default is 1 minute, so you can close them.
Yeah, they might have set the default. Let's see. Yes, that says default. We didn't ask about that. Open space is about being flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts when it starts, it's over when it's over.
Mm-hmm.
They're still all in there with each other, so everyone's still alive
That's a good sign.
right
That
now.
means they're talking. Yeah.
So people who are listening,
Oh,
people have made it.
Michelle is coming in. Bring. Oh,
Oh,
got it. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hey guys.
Hello.
Mark and April.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to Agile Denver.
Thank you.
So
I know. I
glad-
saw Agile Denver board come in, and it's like, are we supposed to stand or
Ah.
music?
Always surprised by that. I'm on Zoom as Ronica at Elevate all day
Yeah.
long, and then I don't know how it knows that I'm in a different way suddenly. I changed
Yeah.
it.
How does it know? Hmm.
That doesn't know. But as board president, it is my Zoom account. So
Yeah.
You told me it was my Zoom account.
it's your Zoom. It's your Zoom user.
Oh,
I
I
set-
got that straight.
I mean, to be clear, you guys, Lori is also on the board. So
that's like
So-
you can borrow the car, but only on Tuesdays and Monday morning.
Oh, you all are funny. So I'm gonna say that you may want to listen to the recording because while you were gone, Mark and I have been leaving some Easter eggs for you.
Some
Oh.
gifts for whoever gets to edit.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Do you know who edits? Do you know who edits all the recordings and listens to each and every one? Mark, it's Kristen McLemore. Do you know Kristen?
Oh, well, then I am very glad we left some Easter eggs.
So prepare to be surprised is
Excellent.
one of the things that we say in open space. And I think that's what you're gonna hopefully experience a little bit of that today. And Mark and I, we want to just share a little bit about open space so you can understand how we kind of dissect what we're talking about here to support our own reflection. Open space is powered by 5 principles right now. They started off with 4 and now there's 5. And 1 law, right? And it's the whoever's there are the right people. Whatever happens is the only thing that could have. Wherever it happens is the right place. Whenever it happens is the right time. When it starts, it starts. When it's over. And Mark, you want to share the law? Some of the elements?
Well, and we did talk about the law a little bit before, but
Yeah.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, April, it started off as the law of 2 feet
Yes.
because we were in physical spaces. And so if you were not learning or contributing where you were, the idea was you walk to where you can. But then that idea expanded some and shifted into the law of mobility. Because certainly here, you could walk someplace else, but you'll leave the meeting, you'll leave your screen. So, unless you have it on mobile, like Anna did earlier. But if you think about what is mental mobility? What is physical mobility? So again, mentally, if you're in a space and you feel you're neither learning or contributing, that might be a signal for you to move somewhere else. So one of the things that we have found is, one of the things that makes a good open space, I should say, is you get into really good stories and you have some rich learning. And so we're hoping that in this first exercise, there was some learning, maybe some personal learning from you, or you learned from what your partner shared.
Does anybody want to share, like maybe something that you learned through your own reflection?
So I think I was chatting with Karen in that breakout room. So one thing she mentioned was she feels like she's a dictator. Basically, she's not giving her team the tools they need to actually get through the problem they're trying to solve. Rather, she's telling them how to do it. And one of the reasons behind that is she isn't hearing from her team. Basically, she isn't getting feedback on what they need help with. So it feels like, she mentioned, it feels like being a tree, like where you're the only one talking, you're not getting any feedback from the people around you. So, and I think I can resonate with that as well, because that happens quite a few times when especially when you're remote and you're in meetings where you don't see people. And there could be introverts too in your meetings where they're probably shy to share their thoughts or opinions. They might not believe that they're in a safe space. So I think, yeah, that's one of the thoughts that she shared.
Yeah. Can I pause for just a second? Karen?
Yeah.
High five.
Back at
I'm
you.
with you. I'm with you.
I'm
Been
not
there.
really a tree. I am just an island. I am just.
Yeah.
So the analogy was, if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it? Is anybody hearing me? Because I'm not getting any feedback sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Wow.
And we talked too about having, sometimes people have cameras on, sometimes they don't. And when you can't see them and you can't get that feedback, there's a lot of feedback that we get that is not verbal. So much of it is not verbal. And if you can't see them, you can't tell if you're reaching them. If they don't say, even when they do, they may not be saying what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And you get those nonverbal cues only when you can see them.
So why do you think we invited you, like, to kind of step into a space into that mental space where you are reflecting on, like, man, this when it just didn't go well about yourself? Why do you think we did that?
Probably to help us figure out how we can do better. What have we learned? And how can we get better from where we were before? How can we improve?
See things from other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
I thought everyone would have very similar responses, but I've heard 4 very different responses so far.
Is there anything different?
Yeah, I think that creating that more intimate space with somebody else, just like a partnering, for me, I think, like, being able to tell a story or hear a story, it makes it more relatable, right? Like, I might have gone into that saying, like, ooh, I don't want to let everybody know that I'm a bad Scrum Master once in a while. That never happens. So when I heard somebody else telling me, yeah, I've experienced that or something similar, it just makes it, like Mark said, I'm not alone. You know, somebody else has got a similar problem.
Yeah, I
It was
felt like
also
it was a shared human experience of, just not feeling quite adequate in your coaching.
Yeah.
well, and I think for me, from what I'm hearing, is as individuals, we all have a different need, right? Something that we feel strongly about. So for me, it was this feeling that I have that self-doubt, and the person I spoke with in the breakout session, for them, it was a sense of, not getting that feedback, not being able to influence the way that they might have wanted. And then just hearing the other conversations, it seems like there's individual needs that we all respond to, or we all crave, that may or may not be different.
I I I caught Shruti saying, like Karen, so I could already tell that connection was there, um, and that's really a hint of one of those key elements of open space. So you hear or you see when you enter physical open space this concept of a circle, a gathering, a community coming together. And that's really one of those key things. So even here, when we're all boxes on a screen, a circle started to form.
You all
And
connected
yeah,
with you connected with one another in different ways. It started off with the poll, the would you rather, and then it got even more intimate with this question as you stepped a little bit into vulnerability. And then when we came back together, like we're holding space together. Like, oh yeah, like we're all coaches here and we all have some bad experience. I remember my first one, I was like, oh, did I do that? Right?
it's like, oh yes, I did do that.
Yeah. But I learned something.
Yeah. So we surfaced some interesting parts. We surfaced some of our elements, actually, which you now see floating around us. But maybe there's another way we can uncover some elements. Maybe we need to reflect some. So with that, I think we'll I think maybe we'll put people in the same groups just to keep it easy. And we want you to think about a story where that metaphor was true for you. Sounds like some of you already got into that, which is cool. That's good. But we also want you to think about what was missing for you in those situations, and either how you pivoted or where you might pivot if you're in that situation in the future. Okay. So April has posted that question there in chat for you. But do you have any questions before you go off into breakouts again?
All right. I'm going to open the rooms. And if because maybe your partner has left, well, I'll shuffle them. Okay. And hopefully you'll be okay with that. All right.
Okay. And I was just giving Michelle the prior question there.
So, see if Ian makes it. Share with Jaya. Hey,
Hi,
let me add you to a room, okay?
thank you.
Assign to room 6. There you go.
Oh, Ian dropped out. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it was perfect. He left and then he came in, so it worked out. All right, so how are we going to entertain our guest?
Wow, maybe we should do some storytelling because that seems to be one of the elements. We did a little bit.
You
What
want to?
else can we share with our video editor?
So why don't you go ahead? Do you have a story, Mark, that you want to share about your metaphor and how you pivoted?
Yeah. So there's so many plane crashes. I don't want to relive them all. So so one in particular. Oh, Ian's back.
Hi, Ian.
Oh, he's on a plane.
I'm going to put you back in room 6, okay?
I think he's still getting situated.
Yeah.
Looked like he was bouncing between phone and laptop there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So tell us about your not so safe landing.
So there was this one client. It was an industry I was familiar with, so I felt comfortable, but it was it was with a big ERP system, which I knew nothing about them. I had no experience in those. And the company wanted to run some pilots to see what would work and what didn't. And I ran the team through our training. This was on Scrum at the time. And if you've never dealt with ERP systems, they are very complex. Everything's almost pre-planned for you by the vendors. Like you should do this step and that step and step 25A-47. It's crazy. And there were developers to build custom software, but they had a process defined by the vendor, which was not uncommon. And so ran the team through the training. At the end of the 2-day training, I could tell this one developer just wasn't buying into it. And he got quite vocal on the last day and just said, this will never work. This won't work for us. We we've got to have everything nailed down. Boom, boom, boom. I thought, well, shoot, this is not going to be a good pilot. So they had an internal coach, which I was mentoring. And I would occasionally visit with the team during their pilot. It was like a 2-month pilot. And the guy didn't say much when I was there. I didn't hear anything from the coach. I'm like, okay, so I'm not sure what to do about this. It's like, is it just dead on the airstrip, or are they going to get off the ground? I had no idea. They seemed to do okay, not great. And I went, wonderful. They had 2 or 3 pilot teams. They launched. They wanted to do another round with some other parts of the business. And I was surprised to find that same developer signed up for the next pilot, because they basically asked for volunteers. They didn't assign, they didn't volunteer people, which was something we had coached them on. And I was surprised to see him there. And he said, I thought it was all BS. I didn't think this would work, but he said, when we worked with our customers closely, and I didn't have to fill out all those requirements, and I could respond to what they needed. He said that was powerful. He says, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep doing this Agile thing. So I didn't really pivot, but it taught me that sometimes, I'm switching metaphors here. Sometimes you have to plant the seed and leave it alone. Sometimes once you set the ground and you got everything prepped, sometimes you got to leave it alone and just see if it takes.
Oh, awesome. So I want to ask the second part, because we're going to explore this when they come back.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them to go ahead and switch now.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I was in
Yeah.
the story. I didn't notice.
No, that's okay, because I was listening to your story, but I was also watching that.
Thank you.
I'm like super gal.
We're keeping it light for you, video editor person. We love you.
So, Mark, like, now that it's been some time, if you were to look at it, what other things might you try? Because as you and I know, there's not one right way to do anything.
Yeah.
What other things do you think you could have done?
It's
differently?
It's not so much what I would try. It's more about what I might take out. Because when you're, Ronica pop back in. Okay.
Well, we had already, my partner and I had already done half the assignment the first time.
I had a feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have stepped into our, green room
Yes.
where we were sharing stories. So we'll give everyone else a little bit. We'll let Mark finish up for people who are listening for those.
We're trying to give Christian plenty of fun things to listen to while she's editing.
Nice.
And I'm the one that said we were supposed to go back, so apologies, Ronica.
Oh, no worries. No
didn't know we were
worries.
supposed to go back yet.
Yeah, people must be done. Like, remember, we talked about open space, the principles. It starts when it starts, it's over when it's over. You guys are done. And we get the joy of having you here with us. So this is like the best part. This is what our lounge, our green room. You missed some of the singing that we've done, but you have to catch it on. It depends on how they edit it. They were like, "Oh, that's a little too crazy." Right?
I'm going to there to keep it, but now that I know the trick, I'm totally going to follow that trick.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So anyway, to finish my part of the story, what I learned is what to take out of transformations.
Yeah.
And not try to put too much in it. So don't put too much in the soil.
Cool. So while you all were telling stories in the breakout rooms, we were telling stories here. And we just kind of wrapped that up. You'll get to catch the story on the recording. I know, so fair of us to do that. But we have to leave you a little joy for later.
I have a quick question. What are these words that are floating around you? What are those?
Ooh.
How are we supposed to use those?
Yeah, we are
This is my first time, so
we've been slowly digging into those, which we will cover some, maybe not all, here today. And for example, that we didn't actually get a chance because we were kind of moving on to the next exercise. But last time, what I saw from all of you and I sense is that that there was breath in present and being able to kind of explore with someone else what you have experienced and how they can relate to that. That, you know what, we're both saying like, hey, we're taking our failure bios together and learning from it, right? And the circle represents that circle of connection or community. Those are a few that we touched on. Invitation, we touched on that by you were invited to share this. You could have stayed back and said, not for me. That's okay, right? You decided to accept that invitation to explore this, to be on this journey with us today, and reflect what we're doing. We leverage storytelling. We talked about unlearning. We've actually touched almost on all of them. And right now, we're about to cover the last two. And, Mark, you want to kind of help us dig into that?
Well, before that, I'll pull up something else here. So most people are familiar with the mechanics of open space. So we talked about the principles and the law, and people talk about the roles and everything else. And as fellow coaches in this coaching scene, I'm sure we have all seen that problem of focusing on the mechanics and not really the feel or the elements that really make a successful space. So what our intention was how do we give you that experience in a very short time frame? So with that, we know that a good open space has that opportunity for learning and unlearning. And you've explored some learning and some unlearning already. So maybe we should explore a little further now. So we're going to have one more exercise before we kind of shift into, sorry, I'm seeing people pop in and out. I always like to wave. Explore your options. So we talked about how you might pivot. Some of you were ahead of the class and jumped into that first section. Awesome. When it starts, it starts. When it's over, it's over. But now think about the options. Think about your marketplace of possibilities in related situations. So if you didn't get much into it in the last time you talked about your story, open that up a little bit more. What are some related situations? What are some other options? Where else could you learn and contribute as part of that? All right, just looking at chat, see if there was any questions there. Okay. All right, so April, did you want to go ahead and put that question in chat?
Yeah, I'm grabbing it now.
So that's your prompt.
Mm.
Think about those options in similar situations.
What might you try differently?
Yeah.
So we're going to have you just go for just a couple more minutes. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it and dig deep. Okay? All right.
got Adam on his own.
I'm gonna move Adam to room 4 with Veronica.
Okay, cool. Cool. So, marketplace of options. You know, something I found very interesting, which I had to unlearn, is going slideless, going without a deck, going without, I would say without a script, because having done a little theater, I will say that not everything is written out in a script. So,
How difficult did you think that was for me?
it's natural for you. It's natural for you. It took effort for me to do that. But I'm learning that what I learned was how it opens up possibilities, how you really listen more and you really pay attention more instead of paying attention to slides and paying attention to the script.
Yeah, I find that the space opens up more.
Yeah.
And that
and it's easier for others to hold that space with you because it's not all written down. You can contribute.
Yeah. In a physical space, what I would do is just have sticky notes on a wall and say, okay, like I have one, I would make a joke and be like, oh, I have a 100 slides. Are you guys excited? And like, just joking. I'm gonna make it right now. And I'll just in front of them, I just put the name of the whatever thing and just put my name on it. It's like, oh, that's my one slide. And here's some of the things that we'll talk about. I don't know, in whatever order that'll happen. That on exercises as there's movement and play with it. And right now, this virtual background we created is those sticky notes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we're gonna touch on these sometime during this conversation, and it's beautiful.
Gives me an idea for a future experiment. Tune in next time. What will he try for a background?
Ooh. All right. Mark.
Yes.
I need a song from you.
You're killing me.
I know.
It's late at night.
Reflection.
Try to remember that day. Oh, see, I can't do it. Day in the sun. When life was slow and oh so mellow. There. My voice was not ready for that.
See, I was thinking of Reflection, the song in Milan. When will my reflection be?
There might be an exercise
Who I am inside. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry. You can cross that out the video.
Or not. Keep it in.
No, when Mark was like kind of croaking a little bit, keep that
part in.
That's the best part.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's the best part. It's the best.
And this is our working relationship. Backstage is not always pretty.
I just want to let you know that Mark has a cruel side.
Oh, hey, stop.
Hey.
Speaking of cruel, did we leave him in there too long? Do we need
I don't know. Well, you can tell him to swap, and then I'll tell the this quick story.
Okay.
So this is how Mark was cruel to me. This is what our parent relationship is like. I gave his wife a recipe for sweet potato brownies. Well, sort of gave a recipe because I'm more of a soul cook, and just said, you put these things in the bowl, mix it up, whatever. Boom, voila, right? And she made them. And he eats them in front of me. And then he didn't like really offer me none, just kind
I
of stick
did.
it up to the
it couldn't go through the
camera.
camera.
It didn't go through the camera, so.
They were very good, by the way.
And of course he's making the very good noises, like the ums and stuff. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yes, that's our friendship. So
yeah. And you know, we think our video editor is a friend too. That's why we're letting you in on this. So.
All right.
So it's been fun for us. We hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the backstage conversations with Mark and I. We're gonna be closing the rooms and bringing people back, and they'll have to hear these stories.
They're gonna have to listen later if you let them. The power is yours.
Yeah, walking your own mobility on how you edit this
And
video.
if they have not treated you well, you keep those stories to yourself. You keep those chuckles to yourself.
Yeah. Chuckles.
No matter what Veronica said. Oh.
We have Shruti.
Hello. Oh, did I just leave the party?
Oh, I have been so sweet during during the intermission, the green room, the lobby, the space with Mark. Yeah. I have only the love for him. He is my light-skinned brother. I love him.
I totally believe you, April.
Light hair too, with all the gray hair.
There you go.
Yes.
I keep getting cut. We keep getting cut off. Conversation's getting so good on our.
It's getting good. It's getting good.
Lori's got some good stuff.
Cool. Wow.
So
you topped the pantyhose story? Wow. Okay. Man, okay.
Yeah. I learned from Monica. She told me she's teaching me to coach through storytelling. So I'm giving it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The pantyhose thing, that was in the pre-party, Mark. You weren't supposed to bring that up.
Sorry. Edit that out. Okay.
So, does anybody want to share anything on what came up for you?
What options opened up for you?
Well, it's fun because I got a new partner, so that in itself opened options because we had different stories to work with. But I really appreciated Adam brought in. Just to paraphrase, I feel like all the conversations I've had tonight have been about essentially when ego gets in the way, right? And so you're telling or you're doing what you think needs to be done rather than sort of asking the team and checking with the team and making sure you're connecting with people. And I love that Adam brought in, the way to get out of it is to start asking powerful questions, right? To find out where the team wants to go. So really, really appreciate it.
I work with Adam and he does do that really well.
Nice.
Thank you, Jeff.
Pat your back, Adam.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and I happen to know that those two people were in Lenny Noyle's Powerful Questions meetup that we had a year ago.
What's an example of a powerful question? Since this is my first meeting.
Ooh. Does someone want to help Russell out? Mark and I can answer, but it's better from you. Come on.
It's a little bit contextual, right? But I want to hear from Adam. I want to hear what he.
Yeah, I want Adam or Jeff to answer.
Oh man, they're
Keep it
volunteering you.
volatile.
Jinx, Mark, come on.
Oh, you cookie.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it looks like he's pulling up examples. Ooh.
I do. I want to, because it's not, I don't have context right now. I want to find the more general phrasing,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
powerful questions are open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not leading, I think is the big thing for me is a lot of times when our ego starts getting there, we start to ask leading questions instead of questions that are meant to get them asking each other questions and having a conversation. So they're open, they don't necessarily have an answer, and they specifically don't have an answer that you are already thinking of. So you got to get off of the leading question.
Yeah.
And we can put a link in for you of some sample powerful questions. And
Great.
normally they begin, with the typical what, how, when, that type of thing. Why? Be cautious with why. You want to make sure you have psychological safety with why questions, but why is good too, depending on
why is a power tool? Use it wisely.
Yeah.
My favorite version of the kind of the difference, the word curiosity. So you ask, you're asking a powerful question if you are truly curious about the answer. As opposed to you think you know the answer or you're seeking a particular answer. So
yeah.
So the point of the powerful question is to open it up and create dialogue between your team. And as the person asking the question, you want to know genuinely the answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say to open up dialogue in any situation. So Adam was talking about the context. So what is the context for the question? There are a set of context-free questions also. So if you come across, and we'll leave references for this, if you come across clean language, those are context-free and also take some bias out. So you've heard us use some both clean questions and clean-ish. So there was a context in there, so that makes it clean-ish. Is there something else about X is a clean question, or what kind of X? So again, it has that what that you hear, but there's no assumptions in the questions, and still curiosity.
Yeah. So they're powerful and clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's helpful. Thank you.
I would also offer you, Russell, is that me learning about powerful questions, it was a big aha for me as a coach, because I thought I was coaching before. And it'll help you really understand the difference between coaching and consulting, because there's a difference. And as a coach, you do consult sometimes, but you want to predominantly be coaching. And it will definitely amp up your coaching game.
Okay. Thank you. I'm looking at the pyramid right now, and it's making sense. So
Okay.
And when you get people accustomed to using powerful questions, you'll get your circle teaching each other. So we talked to, I think Ronica was mentioning about, ego getting in the way. A lot of facilitators want to control the room. We're more about holding the space and stepping out of the circle. Let the circle hold the space with you. Yeah. Cool. I didn't mean to cut you off, Russ. So.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's all I said. Your explanation made.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we should probably wrap up. What do you think?
Yeah. Unless somebody is there anything else?
I have a quick question, and I'm new and I am not prepared, but how often do we meet?
Once
Yeah, I
every
can.
month. Oh,
Yeah, I
sorry.
can answer that, Russell. So this Agile Coaches and Scrum Masters meetup happens generally once a month on the third uh, Wednesday of the month. So if you go to the Meetup site, you'll see that. But like I talked about earlier, there's this Agile Denver umbrella that has 7 different special interest groups under that, and they also have meetups at least once a month. Sometimes we're doing more than that. And sometimes we meet up with other groups like in Austin or Utah. So, we have other opportunities. So I like to say it's like Fight Club. Have you ever seen Fight Club? Where they start fighting about which meetup they're going to go to. Like you can have Agile coaches and Scrum Masters on third Wednesday, but Kanban Sig is for Jeff. Every other month. So you could potentially, have just an array of stuff. So again, go to the website, check out those SIG groups, look at their meetups, and you'll see their events there. So when we kind of go independently, but we're also, grouped up together. So please do check out
Wow.
that stuff.
I
Okay,
totally
thanks,
had a
Laurie.
squirrel moment because I was like, wow, how do your SIGs advertise? Because first rule of Fight Club is not talk about Fight Club. So, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did
Uh,
anybody else have anything different or other questions about open space, digging in to, or other things about coaching?
April, I had a question on the last 2 words up on that the background. So there's bulletin board and marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak a little more to those 2?
Yeah. You want me or you want to, Mark? Or split it up?
so I'll start, and I know April will want to jump in because April's all about options. Your typical experience in an open space event is people come up and they pitch different topics, and you now have options up on a board, that bulletin board of options. And then the facilitator will say something like, and the marketplace is open. You now have a marketplace of conversations, of ideas, of opportunities, of options to explore. So for us, those concepts kind of permeate through everything. So if you, for instance, if you dig into Jim Benson and Tony Ann's work on personal Kanban, they do not use the word backlog on what you put in your personal Kanban. They refer to it as options. What are your options today? What are your options to explore? You don't have to do it all. There's no way you could do it all. So it's about taking responsibility and exploring those options.
Yeah. So to tie it into what you did today, as I tried to tie in the other spaces, what you just talked about is you talked about your, experience and how you may have pivoted. And then you went again and explored what are some other ways that you could have done it, because there's not one right way. There's many different ways. There's not one solution. There's many solutions on things that you could choose. And what we wanted to offer you, just as in an open space event where people struggle with that mental thing. They're like, oh, I want to go to all this stuff. But as you know, and as we talk about, you got to make decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's literally impossible to go to all the things. So where do you want to experiment? What's your next experiment? How do you want to play next? You can move around. That's cool, right? You're going to get different things from moving around and maybe starting and not finishing stuff, right? And then, we can talk to Jeff of Kanban. I'm a Kanban practitioner as well. And like the impact of those things, right? But you have the options to do so, and seeing that there's not one solution. I could try these different things. And we've learned that. I would say, especially during this pandemic, we've tried so many different things. My tool man, which is Mark, on all the different tools we tried to figure out how can we invite the conversation, get people connected, be able to support them in this remote experience. And that marketplace is just how we go and play, right? At the playground, you got a lot of options. Do you want to go to monkey bar, swings? You can't be on all those at one time.
Mhm.
You have to move through it, right? Just like if you were to think about an amusement park or different things like that. So that is our connection to those that we want to
Yeah.
offer you.
And so a lot of these words really tie into mobility, but also responsibility. So yes, you have these options, but it's up to you. What's gonna bring value to you and to those you're with, whether it's at work or life. It's really the responsibility is yours. And we just put one topic on your bulletin board today, that when you're coaching at your worst, when you go to other open spaces, there are many more options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks. I get so much from April, you um, and Mark. Just and Mark, your blog sometimes. You
Me
posted
too.
something I wanted to bring up and share with folks because I think it's really powerful. And again, it's going back to like, what are ways that we can connect with people when we're remote, not just the stuff we've known and heard about, but something like really maybe a little bit, out of the box. And you mentioned that sometimes you'll tell folks ahead of time for a meeting, like, hey, I'm going to be here, a little bit early. I'm going to log on 15 minutes early. If y'all want to come, or if any of you, and it's an optional thing, right? But you're opening that space, you're creating that, facilitating that area for people to come and have 10 minutes of social time, which we that's what we're losing out on being remote, is that the water cooler conversation or the coffee machine thing or the, walk down the street and back. So ways to incorporate that. And so that one was really great. I hadn't thought about it ever, and I tried it, and it was very successful.
Yeah. And that's invitation, Lori.
Yes,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the circle and building that community connection. And as you share, like we share these things for a reason, because you can implement all these things into your practice and start seeing different results where you're like, hey, you know what? No one will talk in a meeting. Everyone's off camera and muted. Like, why?
Yeah.
And but the thing that people are missing, they're missing that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when you have that connection, it makes a complete shift.
Yeah.
I heard
Mark. Yeah,
Mark, I heard you are the tool guy. Is there some place where I can these tools? I'm interested.
We'll share some resources later. But I would suggest you focus on what's your minimum viable connection. So first of all, Lori, thank you for mentioning the blog. I did not pay Lori for that. So.
Yet.
But it's I've worked remote for many years, first accidentally and then intentionally, and I always look for what is that minimum viable way to connect. And I always get the question about tools, and my typical response is, okay, if you didn't have any new tools, how else could you reach out? How else could you open a space? So the reaction many people have had in the last year is create another Zoom meeting. No, don't do that. Instead, maybe stretch, twist, morph what you have. And that's where in the post that Lori said, the first thing I tried long ago was, I'm just letting people know I'm going to be on a few minutes early, and we'll start the meeting on time. We'll get to business. We'll finish on time, but I'll hang out afterwards too, because some people might want to continue that conversation. No new tools, anything else. And guess what? When you do that, you don't have to have hours of Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
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 What
Fine.
else I would offer you around the tool things, and one of the things that Mark and I we try to teach in the classes that we offer together is that you want to use the right tool for what you're doing. And as you see, we use so many complicated tools here tonight, right? Mark
Lots
and
of
I,
slides and pictures.
you know, like you enjoyed our 1,000 slides, right? Tonight we use the right tools for the right thing. And then because it's different, whether we're meeting for the first time, like here, or whether we're together all the time as a team. Your tools may be different. Like you want to think about those things.
Sure. That makes
and
sense.
it's about the conversation and not the tool. Always.
Yeah.
Right. That's Agile.
Yeah.
Is that one of the Agile manifesto? Wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Refresh myself.
Probably in there somewhere.
Interaction over I can't remember.
Over process and tools.
Process and tools, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, we need the tools to connect, but we need the relationships to function well. So work on those.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. As somebody who sees many shiny new tools, yeah, they don't matter. So.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you for this meeting. It was really great.
Yeah, so I enjoyed
Appreciate
it.
it, April and Mark.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we got links in the chat to Mark's blog, the blog that Mark and I have together with classes we have on holding space that can go deeper, and that are just things about the book we're writing. And also, if you want to go to a actual open space event, Future Work 24 Hours, that is happening on May 7th and 8th. And
if you want to see a bunch of different tools there, that's probably another place to go. Each circle, each of those circles has their own style, their own team kind of putting together. So you'll see a lot of ways, and you might see the same tool used in very different ways there too.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
That is awesome.
And that open space is a pay what you can. It's very open. So don't let finances not have you show up.
Absolutely. Mark and April, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure working with you guys to prep this meetup and this workshop. And as you guys said, you got a bunch of us strangers kind of get connected and have a conversation and feel vulnerable to share our experiences and learn from each other, right? So I think that was the biggest takeaway for me from this workshop. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and we were glad you were here to play with us. So.
Yeah.
Yes. I've been excited about this workshop ever since we began chatting about it. I'm like, yes, like finally we get something unique and different to explore. So this I think is totally worth our time. And as you guys said, if you're here, you're the right person, and you're here at the right time. So
thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
And a bonus game for people who are looking for activities is that, well, like our background became a game randomly for us. And, if someone wants to offer a song about breath, what's the first song that comes to mind?
Song?
Yeah. What's the first song that comes to mind?
There's a song I listen to all the time called Breathe. I can't tell you who it's by though.
Every
Oh,
breath
that's
you take.
Yeah.
fabulous. Or wait.
Lori, for both of us, that song came up, but we both sung two different versions. He sung by the Police, and I did the one by Sean Combs.
Don't tell them what's on the backstage part of the video.
I was thinking
They got to
Sting,
go
but
watch. Yeah. Yeah.
cool
You
guys.
said Sting?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the original, right? The Police. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
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 All right, I'm gonna stop recording.